I don't know. I'm just asking that question here. Hold on. Do Dan Patrick, my friend, my buddy, have a man crush on Jordan today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, would you rather have Jordan as your teammate or LeBron James?
LeBron James.
Why?
He play like me. Because he play like me. And I tell you what, we don't start playing until we get hit. So I'm gonna say LeBron James. And you know what? Let the debate begin.
Karl Malone just told LeBron James something nobody expected. This GOAT talk is complete nonsense. The mailman didn't whisper it. He said it loud, clear, and with zero apologies. And before you think this is just another old player hating on the new generation, hold up, because what Malone said next has the entire basketball community in absolute chaos. We're talking former champions taking sides, social media exploding, and LeBron's camp scrambling to control the narrative. This isn't just shade, this is a full-blown war on legacy, and the shots fired might change how we talk about greatness forever. What really set Malone off, and does he actually have a point? Buckle up, because this story has layers you didn't see coming.
Who would you rather have as a teammate? Jordan or LeBron?
You got a man, hold on. Do you have a man crush on Michael Jordan today? What's the deal here? I don't know. I'm just asking that question here. Hold on. Do Dan Patrick, my friend, my buddy, have a man crush on Jordan today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, would you rather have Jordan as your teammate or LeBron James?
LeBron James.
Why?
He play like me. Because he play like me. And I tell you what, we don't start playing until we get hit. So I'm going to say.
It's January 2025, and the basketball world is already buzzing. LeBron's been on every major podcast, every interview circuit, subtly and sometimes not so subtly, pushing the narrative that he's the undisputed greatest of all time. You've seen it, the carefully crafted sound bites about doing it in multiple eras, the stats breakdowns, the longevity talk, and honestly, a lot of people were buying it. Then, Karl Malone walked into a studio. The interview seemed routine at first. Questions about his career, his legacy, the usual Hall of Fame stuff. But when the host brought up the current GOAT debate and mentioned LeBron's name, something shifted in Malone's eyes. You could see it, that moment when a man who's been biting his tongue for years finally decides he's done being polite. This GOAT talk is nonsense, Malone said, leaning forward. Complete nonsense, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. The room went silent. The host tried to laugh it off, thinking maybe Malone was joking. He wasn't. You want to talk about the greatest? Let's talk facts. Let's talk about what it actually took to dominate when defense was legal, when you couldn't just switch teams every time things got hard, when loyalty meant something. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. X, went nuclear. Instagram exploded. TikTok creators were stitching the video with reactions. The phrase Malone versus LeBron was trending worldwide before the interview even finished airing. But here's what most people missed in all the chaos. This wasn't random. Malone didn't just wake up and decide to throw shots. There was a specific trigger. And once you know what it is, everything about this beef makes perfect sense.
No, that's exactly why. Okay, let me. That's exactly why. See, that's the ultimate equalizer or usurper. Pick whichever one you want to pick. Do you understand that Jordan is 6-0 in NBA Finals? Yes. Do you understand that Jordan was MVP all 6 NBA Finals? Yes. Do you understand that Jordan never even allowed a final series to go 7 games? Do you understand that? It never went 7 games. I also know he didn't start going to the finals until Larry Bird back went out. Excuse me, 10-time NBA scoring champion, 9-time all-defensive first.
Malone didn't come unprepared. In fact, what happened next in that interview showed he'd been thinking about this for a while, probably every time he saw another "LeBron is the GOAT" headline. "Let me break something down for you," Malone continued, his voice calm but cutting. 2 MVP awards, 14 All-Star appearances, 11 All-NBA first-team selections, and I did that staying loyal, playing through actual physical defense, not this soft era where you can't even breathe on a guy without getting a foul. He wasn't yelling. That's what made it so devastating. This was calculated. You know what I never did? I never left in the middle of my prime to stack a super team. I never went on national television to announce where I was taking my talents. I showed up, I dominated, and I didn't need to manufacture my legacy through media campaigns. The shots were flying and they were landing. But then Malone went deeper. He started talking about the championship argument, the one LeBron supporters always use. 4 rings, multiple finals appearances, success with different franchises. Championships, Malone scoffed. Let's talk about how those championships were won. Who was on those rosters? What kind of competition were they actually facing? Because when I was playing, you couldn't just join up with 2 other all-stars and call it team building. That was called taking the easy way out. Now here's where it gets interesting. Malone has 0 rings. He knows this. Everyone knows this. And yet, he's making the argument that his legacy, built on individual dominance, loyalty, and playing through the toughest defensive era in NBA history, somehow carries more weight than LeBron's trophy case. Bold? Absolutely. Crazy? Maybe. But completely without merit? That's where the debate gets real. Stats don't lie, Malone said, pulling out his phone like he had the numbers memorized. Points per game in an era where you actually had to earn every basket. Consistency for nearly 2 decades, and I did it without load management, without taking games off, without needing a super team to carry me. The internet didn't know how to process this. On one side, you had LeBron fans calling Malone bitter, jealous, washed. On the other, you had an entire generation of basketball purists saying, finally, someone said it.
LeBron, to separate the game for a second, you talk a lot about the kid from Akron and going up the list. It was Kobe, or it's MJ and then Kobe, and now Karl Malone leaving just Kareem. How do you put all of that into context, and how much, if any, of that was on your mind as you entered this game in that first half?
Just to be a part of this league for as many years I've been a part of it, and to be linked with some of the greatest that ever played this game, guys that I've either watched or studied.
But why now? Why would Karl Malone, who's mostly stayed out of the spotlight in recent years, suddenly decide to go nuclear on LeBron? Here's what nobody's talking about. This tension has been brewing for years. Back in 2019, LeBron passed Malone on the all-time scoring list. It was a huge moment. LeBron moving into 3rd place, closing in on Kobe and eventually Kareem. The media celebrated it. Social media went crazy. And Malone? He congratulated LeBron publicly, said all the right things, played the gracious legend role. But people close to Malone say he was frustrated, not at being passed, he knew that was coming, but at how the narrative was being framed. Every article, every segment, every discussion about LeBron's scoring achievement came with the same undertone, and he did it better than Malone ever could. The disrespect was subtle but constant. Analysts would compare their games and always find ways to diminish what Malone accomplished. Different era, easier competition, no championship pedigree. And LeBron? He never directly disrespected Malone, that's not his style. But he also never defended him, never pushed back when media personalities trashed Malone's legacy to elevate his own. The silence spoke volumes. Then came LeBron's recent media tour, the one where he's been not so subtly campaigning for GOAT status. Interview after interview, LeBron's been listing his accomplishments, talking about his impact, building his case, and every time he does, another old-school legend gets implicitly diminished. Malone was watching, and he was done being quiet. You know what bothers me most? Malone said in a follow-up conversation that leaked days later. It's not that LeBron thinks he's the greatest, it's that this whole generation acts like basketball didn't exist before 2003. Like everything we built, everything we accomplished, it doesn't matter because we didn't have the social media machine behind us. That's the real wound. It's not about stats or rings or MVPs, it's about respect. It's about feeling like your legacy is being erased in real time to make room for someone else's narrative. And here's the thing that makes this even more complicated. Malone has a point. Not about whether LeBron is the GOAT, that's subjective, but about how we've started treating basketball history like it's disposable, how we've let media narratives override actual accomplishments, how we've confused popularity with greatness. The basketball world split down the middle almost instantly. On one side, you had the LeBron defenders coming out in full force. Malone's just bitter he never won. He's jealous of LeBron's success. This is what old players always do, hate on the current generation. But on the other side, a surprising coalition formed. Old school fans, yes, but also younger fans who were tired of the constant GOAT debates. Players from the 80s and 90s who felt disrespected, even some current players who'd been privately frustrated with the LeBron media machine. A former All-Star, speaking on condition of anonymity, told reporters, "Karl said what a lot of us have been thinking. Not that LeBron isn't great, he is, but this idea that he's so far above everyone else that we can't even have the conversation, that's disrespectful to everyone who came before." Social media became a battlefield. Every basketball page picked a side. Debate shows had segments devoted to nothing but this beef. Sports analysts were writing think pieces about generational divides, legacy building, and what it means to be the greatest. And through it all, one question kept getting louder. Where is LeBron? Because here's what's wild. LeBron hasn't responded, not directly. Not a single tweet, not a single interview addressing Malone's comments. His camp released a generic statement about respecting all legends of the game, but LeBron himself? Radio silence. Some people saw this as maturity. He's above it, his fans said. He doesn't need to respond to bitter old players. But others saw it differently. They saw someone who's very carefully constructed a public image refusing to engage because engaging would mean getting messy, and getting messy might damage the brand. LeBron's whole career has been about control, one media personality observed. Control over his narrative, control over his image, control over how history remembers him. Malone just threw a wrench in that, and LeBron doesn't know how to respond without looking defensive. The silence became its own story. Fans started reading into every LeBron post, every interview, looking for hidden responses to Malone. Was that cryptic Instagram caption about knowing your worth a shot back? Was that comment about letting your work speak a subtle counter? The conspiracy theories spiraled. Some people claimed LeBron was waiting for the perfect moment to respond. Others said his team had advised him to ignore it completely. A few even suggested he was privately furious but couldn't figure out how to respond without validating Malone's points. Here's what's really happening, according to people connected to LeBron's camp. They're stuck. Respond aggressively and LeBron looks petty. He'd be punching down at a retired player, which goes against his carefully crafted king image. Plus, it would keep the story alive, give Malone more ammunition, and create an endless back and forth that LeBron can't win. Ignore it completely, and the silence looks like avoidance, like maybe Malone hit a nerve, like maybe there's some truth to what he said that LeBron can't effectively counter. So instead, we're getting the middle road. Vague acknowledgments of respecting the legends, generic comments about everyone having their opinion, and a whole lot of nothing concrete. But silence in 2025 doesn't work the way it used to. In the age of social media, not responding is a response, and people are drawing their own conclusions. LeBron's silence tells you everything, one prominent basketball podcast host said. If Malone was completely off base, if his arguments had no merit, LeBron would bury him with facts. But he can't, because some of what Malone said, it's true. The super team era did change things. The media campaign is real, and LeBron knows that engaging means admitting those things. Meanwhile, Malone's been doing more interviews, not backing down, not apologizing, but also not escalating unnecessarily. He's made his point, and now he's letting it marinate. every day LeBron doesn't respond, Malone's argument gets stronger. The really fascinating part, this is exposing a bigger conversation the basketball world has been avoiding. Are we too obsessed with crowning a single GOAT? Does doing so inherently disrespect everyone else who dominated their era? And who gets to decide? Current fans who never saw past legends play, or the players who actually competed against each other?
Let's zoom out for a second. This beef between Malone and LeBron, it's not really about them. It's about something much bigger that's been building in basketball culture for years. We've become obsessed with ranking players across eras, as if they all played the same game under the same rules with the same advantages. We ignore context. We ignore rule changes. We ignore how the three-point revolution changed offense, how hand-checking rules changed defense, how load management changed career longevity. Malone played in an era where defenders could physically punish you, where teams had one superstar, maybe two, and everyone else was a role player, where loyalty to a franchise was expected, not questioned, where you played through injuries that would sideline players today for weeks. LeBron plays in an era with advanced sports science, optimized training, super teams, player empowerment, and a rule system designed to favor offensive players. None of this makes his accomplishments less impressive, it just makes them different. The question isn't who's better, the question is, can we even compare? And that's what makes Malone's outburst so significant. He's not just defending his legacy, he's challenging the entire framework we use to discuss greatness. You can't compare players across eras, a basketball historian pointed out during a recent podcast. It's impossible. The game is fundamentally different. What Malone's really saying is that LeBron's fans need to stop acting like pre-2000s basketball was some inferior product that doesn't deserve respect. Whether Malone is right about LeBron specifically is almost beside the point. What he's right about is this: the way we talk about basketball history is broken. We've let media narratives and social media debates override nuanced analysis. We've turned legacy building into a zero-sum game where elevating one player means destroying another. And maybe, just maybe, that needs to change. So where does this leave us? Karl Malone said what he said. LeBron's staying quiet, and the basketball world is more divided than ever. But here's what we know for sure. This conversation isn't going away. The GOAT debate will rage on, probably forever, but now it's got a new edge, a new tension, because someone finally said out loud what a lot of former players have been thinking. Is Malone right? Is LeBron's GOAT campaign disrespectful to past legends? Or is this just another case of an older generation refusing to accept that the game has evolved? The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. LeBron's greatness is undeniable, but so is the greatness of everyone who came before him. Maybe, instead of fighting over who's the GOAT, we should be celebrating that basketball has given us so many different kinds of greatness to appreciate. But that's not as fun to debate, is it? What do you think? Drop your take in the comments. Is Malone out of line, or does he have a point? And if you want more drama, more controversy, and more deep dives into the stories nobody else is telling, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because trust me, this story is far from over.